Hey everyone, welcome back to Bryan's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. I do apologize that it's been so long since my last video, but I've been working really hard. This is our busiest month, and I've been preparing for my trip, of course, which I'm going to have a lot of great videos for you guys, so there's going to be a lot coming up. Today's video, we're going to be talking about various hunters' mysteries. Some of them disappeared, but others were even more bizarre. I mean, yes, it's bizarre for anyone to disappear, but some of these stories you'll be just shocked by. But I wanted to say late happy Mother's Day and happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get a video up for those days, but I hope everyone had a great day and enjoyed time with their family. This first story happened in Cherokee, Texas, which is just a small town in Texas, and honestly, it was so hard to find any information about this at all. I mean, it was literally like even the date. It was just, there was like no newspaper clippings about this, so I do apologize about that. But these are all pictures from the actual county. Basically, the sheriff's deputies were searching for this missing hunter, Douglas Moore. They ended up finding his remains near his truck in the woods, and he apparently had bled to death from a puncture wound that had pierced an artery in his leg. Now, on the ground, several yards away, they found deer blood. What was even more bizarre was an unloaded rifle was lying right next to Mr. Moore's remains. However, there were no spent casings. It hadn't been shot. It was just sitting there. So the investigators thought that maybe Moore had shot the deer somehow and thought it was dead, and then unloaded his weapon before getting ready to do whatever he was going to do with the deer. And they think that the deer suddenly came back to life and then possibly gored Mr. Douglas in his leg and then ran off into the woods. Now, apparently, the sheriff investigators were so perplexed by this, they spent weeks looking for this deer that could have possibly have been wounded and then maybe taken Mr. Moore's life in this weird incident, but they never found the deer. And really, it's one of those stories where it's just so bizarre, and there's really not that many facts available online or anywhere. I mean, I literally could only find one article, so I know it did happen, but apparently this has happened in the past where people have been hunting a deer and they thought that it was killed and they put it in their car or something, and then it comes back to life and causes all kinds of havoc. So I know it sounds crazy, but apparently that's something that does happen. This next story is equally as sad and bizarre, and it happened in the fall, in October, in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, which is an absolutely beautiful area. I'll have some pictures so you can see what it looks like. Obviously, it's the northern part of Michigan, so it gets cold, but it does have beautiful spots to it. And there was these two fishermen out, and they were fishing the Sturgeon River. Now, I'm going to have some pictures of the Sturgeon River, but apparently this river can be very swift and fast. Well, anyway, they were out fishing, and they found the remains. This is a picture of the Sturgeon River. I know it doesn't look like it's a rough river, but apparently it can get really, really nasty. And these fishermen spotted the remains of a gentleman by the name of Craig St. John, who was only 27 years old. Craig hadn't been seen for 18 days. He had gone out on a hunting trip with two of his friends 18 days prior, and he was never seen again. Now, his two friends, they came back okay. Of course, this started an investigation because, well, what happened to Craig? The two friends said that they got separated and they had no idea where he was. When the remains were found, Mr. St. John's body, his gun was still slung across his chest waders, which I'm going to show you a picture just in case you don't know what those are. They're just waders to help protect you from, if you wanted to cross a creek. So the investigators originally thought that he probably just drowned trying to go across this river. However, the autopsy cited that he did not drown. He had no injuries on his body. they couldn't determine what happened to him. And again, so then the investigators were grilling his companions, who said they had no idea. They said, all we can tell you is we got separated that day somehow, and that was the last time we saw him, which kind of seems suspicious to me. I don't know, maybe you guys can offer up your opinion, but I would figure if 3 buddies went out hunting and one of them just vanished, I would sound the alarm. But apparently in this situation, but who knows, it could have just been an accident. It's impossible to say, but I think that the autopsy results seem suspicious. However, after talking to some medical professionals and just studying these kind of cases for a while, the longer the remains are in the elements, especially water, it is extremely difficult to determine the actual cause of death. So it's just one of those things that's impossible to say what happened in this case. This next story was actually sent in by a viewer who actually her great-grandmother told her this story because it happened so long ago. This family was living in North Dakota. It was a man and a woman, and it was just the 2 of them. They apparently both lost their parents, and they didn't have any brothers or sisters, so they had this white farmhouse that they worked on and they just loved. They had about 70 acres in North Dakota, I guess northern North Dakota, and the way she described it, it was just absolutely beautiful. She said that part of it was just this beautiful forest land, and then the other part was just these rolling hills with beautiful grasslands. And she said that this couple was roughly 27 to 30 years old. They were about 3 years difference in age, and this one particular fall, the snow came early, and the husband, Will, he loved to walk around his 70 acres, and he wasn't really big on hunting, but he did carry a rifle, and he did like to sort of patrol his land. One day when the snow had come early, he went out for a walk. He told his wife, Sally, that he was going to be out there for maybe about 3 hours just looking around, checking out the property. He loved to walk what she called the perimeter of the property. Unfortunately, this particular day, a huge storm moved in that I guess either of them didn't know about. After he didn't return, after I think she said it was almost 6 hours, she went out and she was looking for him, and she immediately found his rifle up against a tree. She found one of his boots that was stuck in the snow, and then a bunch of footprints around the tree. It was like he had gotten his foot stuck and he was trying to figure out a way to maybe sit up against the tree and put the boot back on. But then his footprints led into the woods, so that's what she did, was she went to the woods to look for him, and the footprints just completely disappeared. She said they stopped roughly at the tree line, and she could not understand why he would not have taken his other boot with him to put it on. She couldn't understand why he didn't take his rifle either. He was never found. She said that back then there was really no such thing as search and rescue, and even the police really couldn't do much. They had a couple of people, she said, that came out, hikers that volunteered to look for him, and they looked for maybe a week on and off, but she said that it was nothing like what's available today. I mean, there was no air support, there was basically nothing, and she said that it was just up to a couple of people, and she just sat in her house in anguish while they looked. I mean, she would look too, but of course she was just exhausted from looking herself and just going through this emotional tragedy. Apparently, the way she recounted this story to her granddaughter was that it was such a mystery that when she ended up getting remarried, she didn't tell anybody, and she hadn't told anybody until she told her great-granddaughter, and it was only because she knew she was going to pass away soon, and she just wanted somebody to know about this man, Will, who she said was just a beautiful man who loved to sit out and look at the northern lights with her. And it's just such a touching and sad story. I mean, it was just hard to listen to. But I was very thankful for her to tell me that story. And I know in a lot of these cases, there are just a shoe found or a boot found. So I wanted to tell you guys this story because when she told me about it, I couldn't believe it, because this story happened a long, long time ago. And appears these things are still happening today in modern times. My thoughts and prayers for her and everybody that I talked about in this video, their family and friends too. I just wanted to say thank you again for being patient, and welcome to all the new subscribers. I thank you for giving me a chance and watching the video. If you have any questions for me, please send me a comment or message or an email. And like I said, I've just been preparing for this trip, and once I get going on the trip, the frequency of videos will pick up much faster, especially once I get out west. And if you do have any questions, driving, I'm going to be going the northern route. Then coming back, I'm either becoming the southern or central route. I haven't decided yet. So if you want me to stop, or if you have a case you want me to look at, please send me a comment or a message, and I'd love to see if I can cover it for you. I want to thank you all for watching. As always, special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music, and I'll see you in the next one. Just a few housekeeping issues. I know I said one time in a video about experience, but really it doesn't matter how experienced you are. In fact, sometimes it's our hubris that we just get overconfident in our ability. So really it can happen to anybody. And I just want you guys and girls to all have a great, happy, safe, and great camping and hiking season. And those hiking the PCT, please always read all the warnings and the trail closures, and have a great, safe hike. I know a lot of you guys don't like when I talk about personal things during the videos, but for those that do, I'm still recovering from certain cognitive issues, so I do apologize if I stumble over certain words. I am trying. I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate all your support, and thank you for all the new subscribers and for all my subscribers, and just thank you for all your support, and thank you for watching.